I, s- I'm a small town girl.
Okay.
I was born in Bangalore.
Mhm.
I don't think you've even
I've been to Bangalore.
probably. Anyway, I was born in Bangalore, middle class family, uh, convent educated. And my father was in the judicial service.
Mhm.
So he used to be transferred from place to place. And I passed out, came after he retired, we settled in Bangalore.
Okay.
I was educated during my school days in Coimbatore, 4 years. So I've been all over the country, as it were, essentially in the South, all the states. I speak 5 languages today. And I passed out of Mount Carmel College in Bangalore, did my degree here, and then went to the law college here and was a rank student of the Bangalore. At that time, all these private universities had not come up law. It was the government law college. But I got involved in the student movement, you know, in the law college union and so on. And my real sort of life changed after I met Niranjan Alva. Now, Niranjan was the son of the famous couple, uh, Joachim and Violet Alva,
Mhm.
who were both freedom fighters, journalists, lawyers, and the first couple in the Indian parliament.
Okay.
Yeah. So we met in the student movement, the Catholic Students Union, and he was in Loyola. I was here. But over 4 years, we really got to know each other. And in 64, we were married. Uh, and then I moved to Delhi. And that's when things really changed. I moved into a political family. They were both in lieutenants, Delhi, both were in parliament. And but I was essentially a homemaker.
Mhm.
It was a joint family sort of arrangement. I was at home. I used to manage the house. No political ambitions, no political sort of interest either. I was happy at home.
But your husband was political.
No, my husband was working that time in uh, in DCM.
DCM.
Yes,
Okay.
but then later moved to the Public Sector Fertilizer Corporation of India. And over the years, I sort of got, if I may say so, exposed with my mother-in-law, particularly Violet Alva. I used to travel with her. I used to be, but never ever wanted to get out of the house. I was very happy at home, like my mother was. Uh, so, but then I was exposed to the political world. We had people coming, going. I was doing all the helping with all the entertaining and all that sort of stuff and traveling with my mother-in-law. 69 came the Congress split
Okay.
when, Indiraji was expelled and all that happened. And that's the time really there was this whole, if I may say so, debate, discussion in the house on what was happening and so on. And in the middle of that, my mother-in-law suddenly died in her sleep in 69 November. I was in Bangalore, my second child was born, and I rushed to Delhi with a 10-day-old babe in arms, and my life seemed to collapse because suddenly, she was gone. She was like the pillar in the house. And it was a terrible moment in my life, I must say. Then came the pressure on me to carry on the tradition of my mother.
Okay.
I had never
I not your husband, and why are you?
Strangely, everybody said, because she had died, they wanted me to join the party, get involved. My husband was working. One had to be a bread earner. He had a job. And we had two children. So my father-in-law was still in Parliament,
Right.
Bangalore at that time. My husband was posted here. And I got involved with the party in Bangalore as a member. And then gradually, they kept offering me posts, which I kept refusing, saying, I can't, I have children, I have a family. And one day my husband said to me, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh.
My mother-in-law, I mean his mother, he said, went to jail with a 5-month-old baby in the house. You have all the comfort and all the facilities that could be needed. Why don't you get involved and do something with the party? I said, once I get involved, I get fully involved. He says, no problem, go back. I had refused a post in the party. He said, go and take that post. You have to carry on with the traditions. You are an Alva. So I went. That's when the politics started. I became the convener of the Mahila Congress. I became the secretary of the District Congress Committee. I was a very hardworking and a very committed person.
Okay.
So election campaigns, I had children at home. I had to manage the house. My husband was working. But somehow I tried to help in whichever way I could. And I was happily settled in Bangalore. We were comfortable. But then there were problems in FCI, Fertilizer Corporation. The chairman clashed with Sanjay during the emergency. There were all sorts of problems. And my husband was transferred to Delhi. So we had to move bag and baggage. But then I couldn't go immediately. I stayed back in Bangalore. He went to Delhi. And it was like the most difficult thing. Husband in Delhi, mother-in-law dead, children with me. I moved to my
Your father-in-law is still there.
Yes, he was in Parliament.
In the Parliament.
So my husband went and stayed. I was here not knowing whether to shift, not to shift, because we had bought a house in Bangalore with an LIC loan which had to be paid. Not this one.
Another one.
So it was a very difficult decision to make. And in the middle of that, suddenly one night, I get a phone call from the mayor of Bangalore at about 1. Those days, there was no TV, there was no mobiles or anything. There was only, the office of the newspapers, which used to get news in them. So I get a phone call saying, congratulations. I said, for what? It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I said, for what? He says, your name is at number 1 for the Rajya Sabha seats from Karnataka. I said, what? Is it a practical joke? What are you? He says, Madam, I'm the mayor of Bangalore and I won't do this to you in the middle of the night. I was waiting. I had not applied. I had not wanted to go to Delhi, and least of all to Parliament with little children. But Indiraji had heard me speak at one of these big rallies in Bangalore of the party at the glass house where she had come. And I believe she was most impressed. And she says that girl has a heart in the right place. I was socialist oriented and my views were essentially what Indiraji had for herself. So she just picked me up. They didn't even know my full name. She knew I was Mrs. Alva Jr.
I love that.
Can you imagine? That's what she proposed.
But she had seen you.
She had seen me, she had heard me, so they rang up to my father-in-law in the night to ask for my first name before it was announced. So it came as a shock. I immediately rang up to my father-in-law. I said, for God's sake, I'm not interested. Please ask them to give it to Niranjan instead. I will help with the party. Let him go to parliament instead. He said, nobody argues with Indira Gandhi. If she has decided, you will jolly well go and file your nomination. I was astounded. I neither wanted it nor had I dreamt of it. I was very keen. In fact, I must mention, I had applied for an assembly ticket uh, after the Bangladesh war. There was the assembly elections here. I've been very active in the campaign to support Bangladesh. Okay, collecting food, collecting things from college to college. I was on the university committee. I did a lot of work for the Bangladesh effort.
Okay.
But getting into parliament was certainly not my cup of tea. I had applied for the assembly seat, which had been finalized, but last moment somebody played mischief. And that was on Indiraji's mind because my name had been cleared. They went and told her that I had a 10-day-old baby in arms. My daughter was almost 2. So how can she campaign? So they changed my name and removed it. I got the shock of my life. My father-in-law went to Indira. They had a very good relationship. He literally blew her up and said, why are you doing this to my family? Violet is dead and here my daughter-in-law has been cleared. And she said, but I was told she's just out of hospital with a baby. When she came to know the truth, it was on her mind. That's why 3 months later, when the elections came for the Rajya Sabha, she nominated. And I entered parliament at the age of 32.
Wow.
As a Rajya Sabha member in 74. Somehow the other, Indiraji became very fond. I was given a lot of responsibilities. I was made the joint secretary of the All India Congress Committee, and they put me in charge of the Northeast. So I became very active and popular with the Northeasters because Christian and everything else. Till today, they are so fond of me in the Northeast. I look after the Northeast throughout. And she was extremely fond. Through the emergency, we fought battles. But Sanjay never left me. I always had differences with the way Sanjay was functioning. But Indiraji always stood by me. She would give me an appointment within 1 hour if I asked to meet her. And she found that my communication channel was most reliable because I would tell her what was happening outside. Nobody dared tell her during the emergency what Sanjay was up to, what was happening in the Congress, everything. I used to go and tell her, I said, this is what is happening and the people are not happy with this, with that. So she used to get an independent feedback.